Hi, I'm Stephen from North East Food, and today we're going to be doing some nice slow-cooked pulled pork. We've got a lovely piece of pork shoulder from the Block and Bottle in Gateshead. It looks really nice. We're also using some Fairley's sauces and barbecue rub. I bought everything myself, nothing's been sponsored, nothing's been given for free. Everything here, I would recommend products unless I really think that they're worth using. We're going to be cooking the pork in Imperial Stout, which I've tried before for brisket, which worked really nicely. You don't need any fancy equipment for this. All you need is the ingredients that we've got here and a slow cooker. There's nothing fancy, nothing extravagant about it. It's a really nice, straightforward recipe. It's really tasty, so I'm going to give it a try. The first thing is, initially I asked for this on the bone, so you can see there's one piece there, and I've taken the bones off the bottom. That's going to let us know when the pork's done nicely, because that should just pull straight out. It's a really good way of telling how well done your pork is. Also, they've taken the skin off for us, which were asked for in the store. So that's really straightforward to do. We're going to take that off, lay it on a piece of bacon, tin foil, and then we're just going to salt that out. So we're going to come back to this, but while we're preparing the rest of the recipe, that salt's just going to draw all the moisture out of that skin, and it's going to make a really nice piece of grappling to go with this sandwich. We've just got to work that in. We're using kosher salt as opposed to normal salt, which is just it's somewhere between normal salt and sea salt, but it's really good for recipes. Draws out the moisture really well. And then moving on to the pork shoulder, we're just going to drop this in a bowl. Preferably for this, you should leave it overnight. We don't have time today, unfortunately. But it's always best to kind of let those flavours soak in, and just leaving it overnight to kind of absorb all of those seasonings. And if we can get it open, we're going to use some Fairley's artisan barbecue sauce. So as I say, this is made in Gateshead, it's a local supplier, and I'll only recommend stuff that I really think is worth using. It's been purchased by myself, fantastic sauce. So we're just going to cover the pork shoulder in this. Bit of a messy job, but there's absolutely no way around that. Absolutely cover the whole lot with this sauce, and what this does is it produces a base for the rub to stick to, so it just means that you're not wasting any of your rub, it's not falling off, just sticks to the whole piece of meat, and obviously it adds a hell of a lot more flavour as well, so definitely worth doing. And then with movie magic, I'm going to go wash my hands. Okay, so now the pork's done, I'm going to prep the other ingredients to drop into the pot with it. So first and foremost, we've got some vegetable stock here. If you want to use pork stock, you can get that, that works just as well. We're going to use one whole white onion. And we're not going to worry too much about how this is cut. If you want to do thin slices, thick slices, because it's in a slow cooker, it's all going to break down really well. Personally, I prefer larger slices just to mix in with the pork when that's done, when you're pulling it together. That'll mix in. And we'll see if I'm going to get watery eyes from cutting this onion. It doesn't seem that way. So this was another fantastic buy off Amazon. But they've stopped selling them, I think, but it's got some little storage drawers, so just where you can put your either your portions or your waste. That was really good. And I can't find them anymore, so that's a shame. So as I say, for this, just quite large slices. Doesn't have to be anything special. And then secondly, we've just got a red chilli. These aren't particularly hot, but it's just something to spice it up a little bit. I think anyone who likes pulled pork will probably fancy a little bit of heat in there. But if not, you can just give this one a miss. Get all those seeds out, and mix, and then chances are we'll be taking these out once the pork's finished cooking. So again, if you want to slice them really thinly, mix them in, that's fine. If you want to just let those oils soak out while it's cooking for the next 6 hours, just nice thick pieces like that should be fine. And then you can just lift them out at the end. You're not going to lose too much flavour, I wouldn't say. And then just to finish as well, a couple of sage leaves, obviously the fresher the better. And for this, just nice thick slices again. I'm going to drop these on top, and all those flavours should have really been soaked out in the 6 hours that's going to be cooking anyway. So we're not looking for anything special. Put those to one side and grab my trusty slow cooker. So we're just going to drop the pork in here. That's going in first. Going to get those nice sliced onions, drop them around. As I say, with any ingredients, the fresher the better. You get a lot more flavour. It's not going to sit on the shelves for ages. Going to just sprinkle that sage on top and those thick cut peppers. So for the next 6 hours, that's all just going to stew together with some lovely flavours. And then we're just going to drop around 700 millilitres of vegetable stock in there. Now the actual amount can differ for 700 millilitres, but really you want just enough to cover that pork, because then the more that you add in, really you're just wasting energy heating that up. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover that. We're going to come back in 6 hours and we're going to see what it looks like. Okay, so it's now been about 6 hours that the pork's been in the slow cooker. We did 3 hours on low and then 3 hours on high. So that's cooking up nicely. What we're going to do is we're going to take that pork out, set it aside, and then we're going to pull that. So I've got a couple of the handy bear claws here, which I got from people from work. As I say, that piece of bone just falling straight out there. That's exactly what you're looking for. As soon as it's that tender that you can just pull that out, that's when you know that the meat's nice and tender. So I'll try and pull this out now. So we're just going to strain out all of those onions and peppers that we'll put in with the pork in the slow cooker. That's all strained out, and again, just going to set this to one side. And as I say, we're just going to pull this pork apart, which shouldn't really take very much at all. So this has taken about 6 hours for this piece. You can leave it a bit longer if you want, but 6 hours should be right about enough. So that's really succulent, really nice. We've strained off the majority of the onions, etc. Still get a little bit in, doesn't really do any harm leaving some of it in. Still a few peppers, some onions in there. And that, as I say, is that. So we're going to take that pork and we're going to pop it back in the slow cooker. We're not going to turn it back on just yet, because obviously we've got all the stock set to one side. So we're going to do a really simple sauce to put the pork back into. We're going to take some of that lovely vegetable stock, drop some of that in. So, as I say, very simple. Bit of that vegetable stock. We're going to use some honey mustard barbecue sauce, which I've tried and is absolutely delicious. So, plenty of that in. And then probably about half a can of the Imperial Stout. As I say, that's really nice and dark. It's going to give a really rich flavour to the meat. Yeah, so just about half of that. I mean, already that smells really nice and fruity. And then, as is traditional, just a splash of white wine vinegar. Just set that there. And then we're just going to cook that for just a couple of minutes, just to mix it all together. Okay, so now that that's had a couple of minutes, We're just going to pop that over the pork in the slow cooker, put that back on low, and that'll just give us time to prepare the pork scratchings. And I mean, the pork at this point is obviously already well cooked, so it's really just to sort of let those flavours sink in and just allow a little bit more prep time. Okay, so the pork's cooking away nicely. We're just going to come back to these pork scratchings. The pork rine's been salted this whole time, so as you can see, that's drawn out all the moisture. It starts to get like a bit of a white coating, which is the juices mixing with the salt. Just want to take that off. We're going to pop it in the oven on max temperature. We're going to pop that in for about 10-15 minutes. We're going to portion it out, and then we're just going to throw it straight in the deep fryer. So we'll see that once it's done. Okay, so that's been in the oven now for 15 minutes, and then deep fried for about 10 minutes, and then dried off with some kitchen roll. It's really nice, crispy, bubbly, exactly what pork crackling should be. And it really doesn't get much more unhealthy than that, but that's spectacular. We've got some sourdough bread here from Block and Bottle as well, which is where most of the stuff's from, for fairly sauces. So what we're going to do now is we're going to melt some cheese on this, drop it in the bread and make a sandwich. I'm going to be using my skillet here and then this nice cover, but use anything, frying pan, plate, bowl, really whatever you've got in the house, that's going to be absolutely fine. And the pork now, pulling apart lovely, really stringy, exactly what you want from pulled pork. Onto the bread, making sure that we're getting a little bit of that lovely sauce with it. This is really sweet, we've got that nice porter coming through, you've got all the flavours of the rub, the sauces, everything coming through together into one. Really nice complex flavours. It's quite sweet, so I'm just going to add a little bit of salt on there, tiny little bit. We're going to use some mature cheddar, drop that on. And then finally, we're going to put some of this delicious pork scratching in there as well. So that'll just melt into the cheese nicely. That'll be absolutely lovely. Drop the temperature on that. We'll put it at the outside of the bread. That's just going to help it crisp up really well. And then we're just going to drop this in here. Then to get that nice crisp, press them down. Then it's only going to be a couple of minutes each side. We're going to drop that on top, that's going to help that cheese melt down really nicely. Then we're nearly done. 6-hour sandwich, but a tasty one. Definitely worth it. And obviously, you're going to pick at these. Just gets better and better. So you don't want to do the outside too much. You just want a nice golden brown on the outside. Flipping it over. Just drop that back on. So if you want this recipe nice and early, just comment below me and we'll inbox you the recipe straight away. Get it ahead of everyone else. It should be live by the weekend. And these are looking just about done. Let's get these plated up. And then we're just going to serve with some of those wonderful bits of pork crackling and a little bit of sriracha hot sauce just for good measure. So this is the definition of unrefined food. It's nothing fancy, but holy crap is it good. And then that's the best sandwich that you're going to try. Let's get a close up. And that's pretty much it. So that, as you can see, lovely melted cheese in there, some nice tasty pork crackling. You get the lovely bit of crunch off the pork crackling. Pork's mega tender. That nice bit of flavour from the cheese. Crispy bed and a bit of sriracha. That's just spectacular. I mean, that with tomato soup, absolute winner. So just comment below if you like the recipe. As I say, comment me, we'll get it sent over nice and early. Or if you'd like to comment on any other video recipes that you'd like to see, just let us know and we'll try and do our best. Thanks a lot. God damn.